My name is Rich.
And I'm Paul.
And this is a comic strip AP of Don't Rest Your Head, featuring the sleepless nights of Allan Turner. When we last saw Allan, he had traveled between worlds, from what's called the slumbering world into this unknown space. He entered a wine shop through a rubber tire factory that had closed down. You don't hear that often, right? And after walking through the wine shop, he had a conversation with one of the three proprietors, Ms. Locke. She offered him wax coins, which Bragon explained were useful throughout this realm, in exchange for a regret of his. Allan shared a regret about his father, and she did complete the transaction. This, of course, was so that Allan could find his bassist, Honeycombs, who somehow had been taken here, according to Bragon. Now, after this transaction, there was a bell that had rung, and the front door of the store opened up, and in walked a clockwork lieutenant, which is a person who looked like a British bobby, or policeman, but he was made of copper, and he had a handlebar mustache, and on his left breast was the bolted-in nameplate that said Pendergrass. He said to you, Allan, as well as to Bragon, "What's all this then?" Bragon says, "Mr. Turner, just a moment. Officer Pendergrass, nice to see you. I have a visitor here. We are working our way through the city. Don't worry at all. No trouble." "Is that true?" He turns. You hear it's his head, that metal on metal scrape.
"Yes, sir, it's true. I don't really cause trouble."
He points to your purple and yellow Bymore work shirt. "What's the livery of this here?"
It's my Bymore uniform.
"This looks very odd. You don't need to come here. Come with me now. We'll take you in. We'll have some questioning." Bragon looks at you, and he shakes his head subtly no. Now, again, Pendergrass is just inside the doorway. He has a partner that is just outside. That's where you saw that huge wind-up key sticking out of the back of that other clockwork lieutenant. So with Bragon's concern, what do you do?
"I haven't done anything wrong, sir. Are you fashion profiling?"
Bragon snickers a bit, but this fine lieutenant does not see the humor, and he grabs you by the arm and right around the bicep, and he has a very firm grip. "You think you're funny then? Come on, let's go in." And he's going to start dragging you towards the cobblestone street outside. What do you do?
"I don't want to go. So, although it goes against my nature, I'm going to resist arrest."
Excellent. There are 2 clockwork lieutenants here. They are cumulative, and they're 1 pain each. Now, as a reminder, I have 2 coins of despair that I can use at any point in a conflict to affect your dice as they are rolled. You do have 1 exhaustion, which is sticky. So how many dice would you like to bring into this roll?
So it's 2 pain?
Yes, sir.
The idea of trying to resist and failing seems like a really bad plan.
Yes.
So I'm going to actually up my exhaustion by 1 and roll 5 dice.
Okay, that is a brilliant set of dice there. Let's see how that goes.
4 successes.
I have 2.
And discipline dominates.
Well, discipline does dominate, and I can't change the fact that you rolled all those darn successes. However, I'm going to spend a coin of despair, and I can use that to add or remove a 6 from any pool in play. I'm going to add that to your exhaustion, because that pool is in play. And so by adding a 6 to your exhaustion, that makes exhaustion dominate instead of discipline. So the end result is you're still successful. You have to increase your exhaustion by 1. How is it that you are able to defeat? Do you actually beat down these 2 coppers, as it were, or do you run away? How do you handle them?
Oh, the one that's got me initially His copper grip is extremely strong, but not very flexible. So I'm able to, because of the cheap material of my Buy More windbreaker...
Okay, sorry, that's great.
Slide out from inside the jacket, actually, leaving him holding the windbreaker. And I'm still wearing the polo shirt, of course, but I'm able to slide out. As they're sort of looking surprised, I kind of bull past the other one, just sprint out a block or two away as they're trying to disentangle from the windbreaker. And I have no idea what's going to happen with Bragon, but I'm going to try to circle around and wait for him to find me or try to find him.
Awesome. You take off down the sidewalk, running from gaslight to gaslight, the cobblestone street beside you. It is wet slap of feet on the concrete as you run along. Bragon, he also slides between the coppers and the wall and runs after you. He screams out, "I'm here to perform a citizen's arrest!" Continues running after you, and you glance back to see the coppers, unfortunately, incredibly slow. Fortunately for you, but unfortunately for them, incredibly slow as they start ambling down the sidewalk. Bragon points towards an alleyway. I assume you would take that direction?
He's the closest thing to a friend I've got, so yes.
Wise man. Dart between two brick buildings, down an alleyway, and Bragon comes in after you. He's holding the scabbard of his sword in his left hand, and he points, "Mr. Turner, we should take the fire escape up to the roofs, the best place to traverse the rest of the city. We need to make our ways to the subway. Let's go."
So we're going up to get to the subway?
Haha, very funny. Go ahead.
Okay, I climb the ladder to the fire escape up to the roof.
The tink and the creak of the ancient fire escape, and then you come up to the roof, crossing over the concrete, and the first thing that you see is what appears to be a Cessna. It is set at a 45-degree angle into the roof itself. The lights are still on, and it appears to be abandoned. There's a door that's opened up, but it's still, the lights are on inside the cabin. One of the propellers is still running.
Huh. Is it running full speed?
Yes.
Well, I'm not going to get very close to the propeller then.
Don't want to reenact an Indiana Jones movie. That's a good choice.
So what I will do, while I'm waiting for Bragon to join me on the roof, I'll at least go back and try to peer through the passenger windows and see if it truly is abandoned.
You step over and peek through the passenger windows, and what you see is that there is a young child asleep across a pair of seats. The child is a girl. She's dressed in a pinafore, and she has little pigtails. She looks absolutely adorable.
I turn and look for my guide. If he's not in sight yet, I suppose... Well, maybe whoever crashed this just has gone for help. I don't know. I wouldn't want to take her out.
Mr. Turner, what are you doing exactly? I see you standing by the Cessna there.
Well, yes, there's a little girl in here asleep.
Yes, she's been there for years. Don't worry. You have to choose your battles here. If she were to come out, then she's not awake like you, and it's entirely possible that she could become one of the smothered ones. That's not at all what you want.
It takes me a moment to process this, and like with almost every other unpleasant or perplexing thing in my life, the way I choose to deal with it is to ignore it. So I'm actually going to let him convince me that it's the right thing to leave the little girl laying across the seat of the still running Cessna embedded in the roof of this building.
All right. And what we'll do here at the last moments after you start walking away across the rooftop and you see the skyline, that there are dozens and dozens of biplanes, of propeller planes. You actually see there's a Delta Airlines jet all crashed into roofs, giving this bizarre construction to the skyline.
Huh.
You guys start working from roof to roof, and we spin down as an audience, and we see those two coppers. You recognize the bolt of Pendergrass there on one of the two of them, reporting in at a desk to a man, to the chief of police, we shall say, a person, a being, with a face that looks like a clock face, and his mouth is filled with gears. And after hearing the report from Pendergrass, he says, well, evidently we need to issue a warrant for this one Allan Turner. And we'll stop there.
Cool.
Hi, this is Jason from The Gauntlet. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We have many other Comic Strip AP shows available, each organized in their own sequential playlist for easy listening. Just go to youtube.com and search for Gauntlet RPG.